Now, one of the biggest issues within this framework is low self-worth, something I struggled with, which leads to insecurity, again, indecision, non-trust of the self. It's a key aspect, and turns many aspects of their life into envy and comparison and competitive mindsets with all those around them, which is the most destructive aspect of how and why we struggle to interact with each other. So where does it all start? Well, sometimes it is a spillover of family traits of your ancestors that has bled through into this one. But often it is your relationship to your parents and siblings that generate most poor emotional states. For some in this lifetime, it has been or is your role to correct the ills of your own bloodline. Some will have recognised that, many will not, but correcting the bloodlines of their own family has been the role of many in this time period. To start anew, we have to cleanse and, more importantly, heal the past. Families have histories of generational sexual abuse or alcohol or drug abuse, aggressive behaviour patterns, violence, divorces which spill over into successive generations from one or both sides of the family. It may have been your role this lifetime to correct that. Comparative mindset starts young, comparing yourselves to your siblings and peers. Comparison in the pursuit of curiosity can be a healthy learning tool. But the pervasiveness of this throughout society, though, suggests it is far more damaging than most realise. There is barely a single object or interaction that we haven't fine-tuned our brains into making comparisons towards others with. And the most damaging aspect of it all is most of it is done within your own circle, be it family, partners or friends. But if you're always comparing yourself to what others have done and feel bad about yourself that you haven't achieved this, that and the other, which then leads to envy, how are you ever going to recognise your own contribution to society and, more importantly, your own value and development? One person in my life has a plethora of certificates, awards, degrees and achievements, but is riddled with insecurity, lower self-worth, that the person always feels they've never done enough because their siblings did this, that or the other, when that person has achieved so much in life themselves, which should be a sense of pride. But because of the low self-worth and self-imposed comparative mindset, where they always have to feel they have to prove themselves, this then leads to a type of self-harming behaviour, self-sabotage, where they perpetuate their own narrative of I'm not good enough or as good as somebody else. Where to be recognised, they go off the path in a deliberate move which garners discontent or reaction from those around them, which that person is waiting for to then feel bad about themselves again. This is a roller coaster of an emotional and mental instability of which that wheel can be very difficult to get off. From the overview, the behaviour is bizarre, but it can be difficult to raise those types of people once they get into a lifetime rut that they are never as good as somebody else. The wheel just keeps spinning and interactions becomes much more frequent. First off, they have to recognise within and of themselves to then begin the process of the self-healing. It's not an overnight process, and it's not an easy process either. It takes hard work. But if that person can spend so much time lowering their own value, why not spend as much time lifting their own value? Now, the mental aspect can be the cause and the consequence of emotional instability, but they also work together in a constant battle, and in essence, this is your left and right brain, which I'll get into later. Emotional instability can erode the mental aspect with constant battling within and of the self, which leads to apathy, lack of will, lack of fortitude, lack of integrity, and a complete dereliction of who you are. And this leads to another wheel of self-perpetuating behaviour as well, because you are no longer you. You have become a mirror version of yourself, a projection, a mask of how you wish to be. But because you lack the will and fortitude to master yourself, you have become a shadow being, or multiple shadows depending on the environment and mindset you keep. Integrating those shadows is the key to mastering instability. It is not about erasing the shadow, but integrating it within you. That mirror version of you that you falsely project is how you wish to be seen. Why not work hard and become that version of you that you are falsely projecting as you, but currently isn't? Yet often is the case in victimhood mode. They are actually that person and yet don't see it in themselves. The energy people expend to become and act in alignment with the false shadow of you, again, can be harnessed to become the real you. So it's not like it takes that much more life force energy to correct it. You're actually wasting more energy portraying the false you. The mental and emotional issues of trust is a big thing for many, even when just applying it to the alt media. I've lost count of how many questions I've answered, or sometimes not, of, is this person or group good, Thomas? Now, often the questioner states their own doubts within the question. If you are asking me that question, you already know that person or group is not 100% for you. So why do you need me to validate it?